So today we're going to be looking at Overtone in the color Vibrant Silver. I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. I'll be doing pictures and close-ups and stuff near the end of the video, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. These are human hair swatches, but they're not all virgin hair. The only one that is actually the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically dyed or bleached at some point in their existence. So number 1 is a pink. Usually my first swatch is an unnatural color, and I know that adding gray over colors can help mute it down a little bit, so I just wanted to see how much it would mute the pink. 2 is a gray already, so we'll see how much darker the Vibrant Silver is over the gray. 3 is a natural red, 4 is black, and then from 4 to 11 we have a range that goes to a platinum blonde, and then number 12 is like a toned version of number 11. So I'll start by putting the dye directly from this container and putting it on the top of each swatch. And then some people do like to dilute their dyes, so I will do a diluted version at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind, everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair could take dye differently. Also, different monitors and screens can make colors look very different, especially undertones. So just use my video as a reference for how this could possibly turn out for you. For the diluted section, we're going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So that is 2 parts of diluter to 1 part dye. And if you're not sure what diluter is, my simple answer is always that it just lightens the color of the dye essentially. And if you're wondering, I always just use a plain white conditioner when I'm doing my videos. I'm gonna let these sit for about 3 hours. I will then rinse them out, and when they're dry, I will meet you back here and we can do some comparisons. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video or not, but when I did open the Overtone jar, the dye looked like it was a more purpley leaning gray, in case that information is relevant to anyone, because I know grays can have a handful of different undertones. I do think the purple in the gray is helpful because on the number 11 swatch, which would arguably have a lot of yellow in it, I feel like the gray covered really well, and I would attribute that at least partially to the purpley undertones in the gray helping to neutralize any yellow, so that's good. I also like the range that you can get out of this color because it is a pretty deep gray, but as you dilute it, you can get a nice light silvery color as well. This was the Vibrant Gray, which I know their vibrants are more pigmented. I can actually see a difference on number 5 and up, but if your hair is not virgin hair, I don't know how well it would stay, but overall it is still very pigmented. I did want to jump right into comparisons, and I haven't done a ton of grays on my channel anyways, so I thought Lime Crime was a good place to start because they have two different grays. And I was having a really hard time figuring out which one to use. So I'm going to go with Gargoyle from Lime Crime. But the interesting thing is that the Gargoyle is considered a tint and charcoal is considered full coverage. But on my swatches, the Gargoyle turned out a little bit darker. And I guess that doesn't necessarily mean it's more pigmented, but it's closer looking to the Vibrant Silver. So this is comparable to number 12. They're a little wavy. This is comparable to number 11. And this is comparable to number 10. I honestly feel like these are pretty similar, but there is a slight undertone difference, and again, I'm really struggling to figure out what it is. I almost feel like the Vibrant Silver from Overtone looks a little bit more cool toned and that the Gargoyle might be slightly more green leaning. I figured I'd also just throw in the charcoal swatch from Lime Crime. Now I will say this color is one I did earlier on my channel, so there is a possibility that I'm doing something different now that resulted in a different outcome, but this is comparable to number 11. Now I did 2 separate diluted parts on this swatch, but I obviously diluted it a lot because it looks almost blonde, like a toned blonde on the ends. Maybe in the future I'll consider redoing that video just in case I did do something wrong, but I would suggest trying to find other videos of people using charcoal on their hair to see if it looks anything like my swatch before completely deciding what you want to do. But yeah, in terms of depth, I feel like the Gargoyle is on par with Vibrant Silver, but undertones are not quite the same. And the other comparison I wanted to do was Arctic Fox in the color Sterling. So this is comparable to number 12. This is comparable to number 11 and number 10. I actually quite like the Arctic Fox Sterling color in comparison to the Vibrant Silver. The Vibrant Silver almost looks like it's now a blue-green undertone, and the Sterling looks closer to a more of a purple. So I guess at that point it's based off of your pre-existing hair color or the kind of silver you want. Sterling isn't quite as dark on the direct eye, but it is still darker, so you can also get a range and dilute it if you need to. I honestly feel like mixing 2 grays together that have different undertones, like I feel like these 2 mixed together would probably create a really nice gray that can help tone out both orange and yellowy undertones in the hair, which is actually a good idea. I should keep that in mind for the future. But if you only want to buy one or the other, I will say that the Sterling doesn't look like it did as consistent of a job on the darker swatch. It is still completely dyed, but something about the Vibrant Silver on the number 10 looks a lot more intentional, and that could have something to do with the undertones and how pigmented it is. But when it comes to the Platinum Blonde swatch, which is what most dyes I believe are meant to go over, they both look really good, and again, it just depends on the undertone that you're looking for. I'd like to get into the before and after clips now. Those, as well as anything filmed at the end of the video, will all be done in natural lighting. I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do dyes that do not test on animals. Thank you to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.